Hello everyone, welcome to another tutorial video on object-oriented programming in Java, especially targeted at beginners. So this tutorial video will be specific about dynamic polymorphism. So what is dynamic polymorphism? Dynamic in the sense things happens in the runtime, and polymorphism in the sense one object will take the form of multiple objects, meaning more than one object. So how that actually happens in Java, how to write such a code, what are the syntax and semantics of the Java programming language that supports dynamic polymorphism. This tutorial video is all about that, which is dynamic polymorphism. We'll talk about the syntax and semantics in Java. So let's begin with by creating a project. Dynamic polymorphism. So our project is ready. So let's create a, so how we are going to do this tutorial, in the sense the test cases, so that we understand the dynamic polymorphism is we'll create three packages, and we'll have three classes or three interfaces, sorry, because we cannot have multiple inheritance in Java. So we cannot have the class object, but we can inherit multiple interfaces. So what we can do is we create one interface first, and then we actually create three classes which inherits the interface, and the instance of the interface will actually take the reference of the class objects and does the dynamic polymorphism. So let's create the interface what will be inheriting in the classes. So this is the main inheritant. So default package, so we'll create a package with the, I have created a package using default. So package inheritance. So just change the default package to inheritance. So just write the inheritance and just point to it or point here, so it will be pushed to the actual inheritance, meaning the package, which is actually the folder in the hard disk. So this is how the actual IDE is. So IDEs are very which will very much helpful to actually do all this kind of stuff. Otherwise doing everything by command line will be very complicated. So I just rename the default package to inheritance, which will have the interface in the inheritance package. So this is the inheritance, which is actually the package, and will be implementing the interface. So interface will have just the method declaration. So now our interface is done for the sake of example. Now we are going to create three class object, class obj1. So inside we'll create a class. Here we are going to inherit the interface with the keyword called implements. Implements main inheritance. Main inheritance. So this is the interface which has one method. So we'll just implement the method, which is known as the print message. So here we actually display the message from class, which is class object 1. So we'll create additional packages, which is this is class obj2. In the class obj2 we'll have another class which will actually inherit the interface, which is class obj2. So we'll implement the default constructor. I think I forgot to do it in the actual the another instance which we created first. So I'll just create the default constructor. So this is the default constructor. In the class object2, this is the default constructor. Now we are going to inherit the interface with the keyword called implements main inherit, and we have to implement the method. So just for the sake of saving time, I'm just copy pasting this is from class object2. So let's create another package which is class obj3. Inside class obj3 we create class obj3. Java. First we'll implement the default constructor. Okay, we got the default constructor. So now we are going to implement that interface, which is main inherit, and we have to implement the method. Okay, so here I've just copy paste the text message what will go to the command line, because I've just have to change only one thing. Okay, so now we have three classes, that is implementing the interface, meaning the inheriting the interface with the keyword called implements, because this is not a class. Main inherit is actually the interface. So the interface is here, which has just the body, which has the declaration of the method called print message, and we have implemented in three class objects. So what we do in the main program will make the instance of these class objects. Class obj1 c obj obj1. So we'll make another two more instances to the second one. So we're just trying to demonstrate the dynamic polymorphism here. So I had to rename this file so that it reflects the so that it so you have to import function. Okay, so we have imported all the three class objects. We made an instance of all three class objects. Now we'll make the instance of the interface object. Image, there is no new for the interface because it's not a class object, it's just the inheritance. So how to have a dynamic polymorphism? Now mh, which is the interface, will take C object 1, will take the C object 1, and with that we'll access the print message function that has been implemented in the C object 1. So let's see if it works actually. So it works now, the clear class object. So we just copy paste the same thing, and we'll change the objects. So we'll just run the program. So we have all the three class objects in the namespace of the interface, which is main inherit. So what we are trying to demonstrate in this tutorial video is dynamic polymorphism. So we have three classes, which obj1, obj2, class obj3, which has inherited the interface, which has the method called print message. Then we have made the three class objects. Then we have an object, meaning the instance of the interface. Now the interface is made equal to the class object 1. So the interface is now able to directly access the override method that was been override the annotation coming from the interface. So we're able to access the method from the interface which was there in object 1 using interface instance. So this interface instance, there is no new for the interface. Typically the new interface, the new keyword with this type of construct comes only for the class object and not for the interface object. So the interface object now takes the class objects. So here the first the line number 19, the image is taking the form of class object 1. In line number 22 it is taking the form of class object 2. In line number 25 it is taking the form of class object 3, meaning at runtime the interface is now behaving as class object 1, afterwards it behaves as class object 2, afterwards it behaves as class object 3. So now the interface is now behaving in a polymorphic object oriented way, meaning more than one object oriented way in the runtime. That's why we get the terminology called dynamic polymorphism. This is one of the most powerful feature of Java programming language when it comes to the second part of the object oriented programming constructs, which is known as the interface. And the interfaces supports multiple inheritance as well, and this supports the dynamic polymorphism. So just have one instance of the interface, then equate that to the object, and then call all the override methods that was actually declared in the interface. So this is the most powerful feature that is present in the Java programming language in the form of interfaces, where interfaces behave as multiple objects at runtime, which is dynamic polymorphism. Hopefully the viewers actually got a hold on the dynamic polymorphism of Java. This is the most powerful feature. I'm just repeating a few more times. So this is not generally discussed or actually presented by other tutorial videos, because this is difficult to understand first, but this is not really complicated. Which are the classes that inherits the interface object, meaning here the image, the interface instance equals class object can be directly done. So this is the dynamic polymorphism. This is one. So we can have any number of objects actually referred back to the main inheritance instance, because the inherited the interface instance is the image. The inheritance of the interface is done by these class objects, and just equate the interface instance equals object class object instance, then you can access all the override methods that was originally declared inside the interface object. So this is the demo of dynamic polymorphism. So this is the one, so this is the second, and this is the third. So hopefully it was very much useful for the viewers. I think I will end this tutorial video. Please stay tuned for the additional videos coming in this tutorial series, Java object oriented programming, especially for beginners. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Bye.